Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to our show. I'm John Harcar, your host. I'm here today with Johnny Perez, and what we're going to talk about is helping sellers avoid capital gains. We all like that avoid capital gains thing. Remember, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, really all real estate entrepreneurs, 2 to 5x your business by providing tools and resources to grow the business you want to grow and live that life that you want to live. Johnny, welcome to our show.
I appreciate it, John. Thank you so much. First of all, great name. No big deal. Listen,
we are awesome.
Yes, that is a fact. That is a fact. But yes, thank you so much for having me, and I'm super excited to be here for sure.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to talking about this topic of avoiding capital gains because everybody would like to help their seller do that, or maybe with their own properties. But before we get into all that and jump into the weeds, tell our audience a little bit about yourself, right? Where you came from, how you got into this business. What got you here?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, really quick, very high level information. So I'm originally from San Bernardino, California. I'm in the finance and insurance space. And I can say this very clearly that I never imagined myself being in the insurance and finance. I didn't wake up one day and say, oh my goodness, I want to be in
insurance.
Exactly. So, but yeah, from San Bernardino, California, born and raised. I ended up joining the Marine Corps at a very young age. Transitioned out to North Carolina. I was stationed out there. I did deployment out to Afghanistan, 2010 era, and then came back, lived in East LA for a while. I got into the restaurant industry. I was managing restaurants out in California for about 4 or 5 years. Loved it. It was awesome, but very, very, very demanding. Went to school, got my bachelor's degree. Really because of the fact that I wanted to tell my daughters, hey, you got to go to school too, right? Then I started to kind of venture into the entrepreneur space and realized that maybe the degree wasn't really all that important, but nonetheless.
Not that it does a lot for people nowadays anyways.
Yes, exactly. A bachelor's degree is probably equivalent to like a high school diploma now, which is nuts.
Yeah.
I always tell people too, I have a PhD. I got a public high school diploma. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. But yeah, then I moved out here to Arizona and I got into the insurance and finance space by complete accident. Ended up meeting somebody and his name was Jesus. Right? And I was like, listen, when Jesus is talking, you got to listen, right? So, we ended up talking about it. And he was kind of showing me all these plans. I'm sitting there, I'm crossing my arms and I'm like, I've never heard of and I took in some finances class. I've never heard of anything that he's talking about. And that moment right there really kind of transitioned me into moving to that next step and say, okay, hey, I got to tell everybody I know. And the first question that I asked him, believe it or not, I was like, you got to be smart to do this because I'm a Marine, right? I'm what you call an ASVAB waiver, okay?
Right.
But anyways, he's like, no, you don't have to be smart. You just need a C minus on a multiple choice exam. I'm like, okay, that's a shot. I could take that shot. So ended up going for my license, got my license. I've been licensed now for about a decade. Been in this space for a decade, but...
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
We've really transitioned into the professional side now. I mean, we help everybody, families, individuals, business owners, you name it, but really honing in on the professional side, specifically realtors, and how we can leverage the plans and products we have to not only they can take advantage themselves, but more importantly, they can become more competitive in the real estate market.
Got it. What did you study in school?
So I did my bachelor's in business management.
Okay. So, but you didn't do anything with finance. So what kind of lended you to the whole financial thing? What got your, you have to be a numbers guy for that kind of stuff.
Crazy enough. Yeah. And I always tell people, I make the joke, I'm terrible at math and I can't really spell that well, but listen, we've got tools and systems and checks and balances to make it all work. But, honestly, here's the reality. We're all venturing into this entrepreneur space to generate more wealth and whatever wealth means to you. I know that more money, obviously more wealth equals more freedom. Mm-hmm. And, I grew up, my mom and dad, they separated when I was pretty young, but my dad was always working. My mom was working. So we really didn't get to see a whole lot. So I knew that having 3 daughters, I wanted to get into a space where I can be there with them and be there for them. So really that's all that it was. I just wanted my time back. And I knew that if I wanted to learn more about money and make more money, I had to get into the money game. And that's exactly what I did.
What do you think were maybe some of the challenges for you to not necessarily maybe learn it, but just to kind of really adapt and get into it?
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting question. And for me personally, it was the fact that I never came for money. I didn't really know anything about money. Nobody was knocking on my door and saying, hey, Johnny, we want to help you. We want to show you and talk to you about index accounts and tax advantage strategies. And, I remember getting into the restaurant industry. My district manager, when he hired me, he was like, hey, you can participate in the company's 401k. And I said, listen, I'm not sure I could run that far. I think the furthest that I've done was like a 10K or 15K, but 401k sounds pretty good, right? But nonetheless, I wanted to know more. And when I started to try to communicate my message and try to put myself out there, the challenge for me at first was for the people that knew me. They knew that I didn't know a whole lot about the money. They're like, oh, Johnny, what do you know? What do you know? So,
that's huge.
So that was tough for me for sure. But just like anything, you got to persevere. You got to keep fighting, keep moving forward. And eventually it all comes. So it's great.
Okay. Well, then how did you rectify that thought process that these people had? I mean, did you have to go out and do proof of concept? What did you do? I mean, how did you say, hey, look, I'm the dude?
That's honestly one simple word: leverage. I leveraged somebody that was better than me, that was better in the space. They trusted me, but the person that I brought with me, they had the credibility. So I leveraged that enough to where I was convinced myself that, okay, this is like legit, this is right, this makes sense. And then eventually that confidence built inside of me. And then through my agency and through my agents that I've built, I was that guy. And through those, I would say failed appointments after failed appointment, you start realizing, man, like you do know your stuff. And a lot of people have no idea what the heck you're talking about. So it's really great in that matter.
Well, and I think too, leverage is something that's not utilized enough because a lot of people get in there and they figure, hey, I can figure it out myself. And you don't, if you go with someone who has done that, who has that credibility, not only are you going to educate yourself quicker, shorten your learning curve, but you're going to be able to get into things faster.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And literally going from point A to point Z by talking to somebody, right? And like you said, a fast-paced shortcut to, now there's no shortcut to the actual work part of it.
Right.
But at least the learning curve, it does significantly shorten the learning curve. And that way, what took them 10, 20, 30 years to do, you can now get through it in 6 months, which that's evolving of the world.
And you're not making the mistakes. You're learning from the mistakes that someone else already made. Absolutely. So you're kind of getting rid of all that headache and stuff too. So where are you at now in your career? Not right now, but like from where we last left off. You were working for this company. What are you doing? Like, where are you at in this whole journey?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, so when essentially when I first started, I had a part-time job, or no, a full-time job. I was doing this part-time, but essentially I wanted to make that switch. But I was working for, I went from the restaurant industry to insurance P&C. So I did that for a little bit, and then I transitioned from there to a debt relief company because what I was doing part-time had a conflict of interest with what I was doing full-time. So I switched jobs, knowing that I wanted to pursue this. I did it for about 10 months and made that full-time transition. So as of right now, doing this full-time, completely 100%. I've been doing it now for about 8 years. So I've been in the industry for 10, full-time working for myself for about 8 years. And I mean, we've got in our organization about 2,500 licensed agents, which is great. And right now, again, really, really honing in on the real estate space because what I want to talk about today, really nobody's doing it, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, no, I like I said, it's an attractive title for this podcast. What do you like about this business? Like, why do you get up every day to go and do it?
For me, it's really, I'm a people person, man. I like to learn. I like to see. I'm an energy type of guy.
I love it.
And when I sit and I talk to somebody and you can see the light bulb going off in their head and like, holy smokes, I think this could work. I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. And from there, it's just a trickle effect. But for me, it's the ability to share the information. Because again, look, the money's great. It's all awesome. The products and the plans are all awesome. But when you can create a fire into somebody's heart and soul, and now they're out there changing the world and they're out there changing the family, for me, that's what it all comes down to. It's the ability to communicate, talk, learn about people, and inspire them to do more and inspire them to do better, which the world really needs right now because there's a lot happening.
Well, yeah, a lot. And, you know, it's like for us as investors, right? I mean, at least I know for me is when I see it that I help and I solve that problem for the homeowner, that's where I get it. Yeah, the money's good. That's where I get it. That's where I feel it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't look at it that way. It's sometimes all about the money, which could be detrimental to your success.
Agreed.
So let's kind of jump in a little bit into our topic, right? Of helping sellers avoid capital gains. How in the heck can we do that? Well, you know, actually, let's go. Let's get really remedial. Tell some of our audience who might not know, what are capital gains?
Yeah, so capital gains is essentially a tax that you pay on essentially an investment property, right? So if you have your residential property and you have an investing property, like something you rent out, in layman's terms, if you decide you want to sell that home, and most people don't want to sell that rental property because of the capital gains that they're going to get hit on. So a lot of times they do what's called a 1031 exchange. So the 1031 exchange goes basically from you sell the property, it goes from that property to another property. Right. So that way you're avoiding that element. But for those who want to get out of that space, maybe, you know, I classify it as tired landlords or even absentee owners for that matter.
Yeah.
People that just kind of want to get in the space or they can't get anyone to rent and there's just a lot going on. We help them avoid that tax completely, at least on the upfront side, that big hit by establishing a plan with our partners, the attorneys that I work with as well, that, I mean, just phenomenal.
When folks are trying to avoid capital gains, mitigate capital gains, or whatever they're doing, what do you see as some of the mistakes they make or the wrong path they might take or the wrong ideas they might try to do to mitigate or avoid it?
You know, I think this really goes back to what we talked about earlier. It's just the power of leverage and leveraging professionals. And even like with this podcast, people come and join this podcast and listen to this podcast because they want expert advice. They want people who, again, have made the mistakes. They don't want to make those same mistakes. So number one, it's leveraging the right people for the right plan and product. So that's number one. Number two, really just the credibility and expertise that we bring in the field. When you can take, you know, finance and insurance and you can combine it with both real estate and estate planning or estate preservation, things like that, I mean, it's a recipe for absolute success. So
if you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
The mistake a lot of them make is they try to do it themselves, try to figure it out themselves, and eventually get hit with some, well, you should have done it this way, you should have done it that way, and that's always a challenge for most people.
Yeah, and a challenge too could be finding someone that they trust to help teach them. So how did you find that person?
Yeah, so that's another great question. Honestly, for me, like I said, it was I'm a relationship person. I'm a big believer in you're 3 people away from knowing everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised from the person working behind the counter at a deli market or somebody, at the gas station. You have no idea who they know. So honestly, for me, as I was working and have been working in the space, it was about my 5-year mark. I ended up meeting somebody, good friend of mine now, which it's been a blessing. And he was an estate planner for many, many years. I think at that time he was an estate planner for about 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of saw him build it from the ground up. He started with 2 slab desks from Walmart and like a $350 computer. And now, he's a multi-millionaire, which is great. So seeing, even in that short period of time, we had offices next to each other, which is crazy. So it was me, my brother-in-law. We've been in business together for many, many years. And then our partner, and our offices were right next door. And literally within a year's time, he moved up to the 3rd floor, bought the entire 3rd floor.
Moving on up.
Yeah, so he's doing something right. But it was funny because the conversation, and he was always and mainly focusing on the estate planning side until we had that conversation, and we said, hey, and it wasn't the first time one and done. Like, we didn't just say, hey, by the way, Andre, check this out. And he was like, oh yeah, this makes sense, let's implement it. No, it wasn't like it took probably 2 or 3 years for it to actually sync. I get a phone call from him. He says, hey, Johnny, I got a client. Should I refer them to you or should I get licensed? I said, man, listen, you need to get licensed. You need to learn how to do this because it'll absolutely change the game. And from there, it's completely just taken off. I mean, he's the #1 estate planner in Arizona, financial attorney as well. I mean, just
awesome.
completely changing the game. And obviously we've been able to help the realtors as well in all 50 states. So it's been a really, really incredible journey up to that point. So yeah, good friends, good relationships, great experience, and watching the growth has been a key ingredient to the trust factor of who we know.
And that's awesome, right? And one nugget I kind of got out of that, so folks want to maybe jot this down. It's letting everybody know what you do, right? Letting everybody know what you do, because, like you said, you don't know who that person knows. You might be standing in a line and talking about flipping a house. Well, maybe you got this cashier. He's like, "Oh, my uncle's selling their junky rental." I mean, you just never know, and that's really a huge part. So how would I help a seller, or how would an agent help a seller avoid capital gains? Like, what are those steps?
Yeah, so the question, first and foremost, for them that they'd want to ask is, hey, because we want to ask enticing questions, right? We want to get them to think otherwise, because obviously if you try to, you don't want to info dump either, and you want to leverage the skill sets of the people that are in the business that know how to do it. So the question that they would ask their seller, very simple, is, hey, if I can show you a way, I know you've been wanting to sell this property, and I know you haven't because you don't want to pay the capital gains, but if I can show you a way to completely avoid the capital gains, more importantly, reinvest those earnings that you make into an account that can average 10 to 15% returns, and more importantly, guaranteed no market loss, would you be curious to hear what you could at least qualify? So that right there is just that script alone, or that line alone, has drawn so much attention. And we've done it from the cold call perspective. We've done it ideally from the clients and the people that you know, but that is enticing enough. So from there, Once that happens, they get in touch with us. And on the attorney side of things, this is in a nutshell, because I don't want to overwhelm people with information or all the specific details that go into it. But in a nutshell, this is how it works. They set up what's called the Deferred Sales Trust. The Deferred Sales Trust at that point takes ownership of said property, of this investment property. Then that property is sold. When the property is sold, whatever is earned, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $200,000, whatever that amount is, $70,000. It doesn't matter. That money goes back into the Deferred Sales Trust, which, because it goes back into the trust, it completely avoids the capital gains. Then what we do is, with our expertise, we take those funds and reinvest those earnings into a tax advantage style account. So it essentially grow tax free. Then when if the client decides, hey, I don't need access to the money until 5 years, 10 years. But in some cases, for those who are depending on that rental income, we can actually provide immediate income. And 90% of the time, we beat what their rental income is making. So if they're making $2,500 a month on their rental property, with the plans that we can offer, we can be at $3,000 a month or $3,200 a month. And obviously every plan is specific. Yeah, so we have that ability to do that. Now, when they're taking withdrawals, however, they get taxed on that portion. Now, the piece that I want the sellers to think about, or even the realtors to think about when they're communicating this to their clients, if you have $250,000, $300,000, $500,000 compounding at 10 to 15% returns, and you're paying 20, 25, 30% capital gains tax on a $2,500 or $3,000 a month withdrawal, you can see how that completely obliterates the tax hit that you receive on the back end.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. 100%. So that's, and in a nutshell, that's essentially how it's all broken down, which is cool.
You talked about some of the pros of this. What would be some of the cons of this? What type of situation, property would not qualify for something like this?
You know what? It's really hard to say, because, and again, there's certain products that you have to qualify for medically, suitability wise. I mean, there's a few elements there. We really have to do our homework and our research to make sure that this is the right plan and product for the client. But in most cases, there's really not a whole lot of downside. I would say, if again, the only downside maybe is, hey, you're getting out of the real estate space. You no longer have a property. Now you have the money earning. But if that's what the client wants, then obviously that's what we want to give them. So it's not a ton of cons. Besides the fact that I'm trying to get some.
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm like, hey, you trying to avoid capital gains? Great, awesome. If you don't want to, you want to keep it there, keep it there. And I want to make a point very clear too. We don't try to convince people that don't want to be convinced. The reality is, hey, here's what we have to offer. Here's what we can do. If you find value in what it is that we're doing, then perfect, we can help. If not, hey, no harm, no foul. At least you know the information. Boom, you're off on your merry way.
Well, you can't help everybody. I mean, it's like us in the real estate world. I mean, our demographic is 5% of the population that would take a discounted offer. So I get that part. Yes, okay, well, let's say someone watches this podcast, right? And they're like, I think that sounds pretty cool. What questions do they need to ask theirself, right? Is this the right thing for me? Like, what other questions can they say? Or like, how much is would my gains be? What questions can they ask to justify making a decision to do something like this?
Yeah, and with that, I would hope that with this information, even if it's being shown or communicated, is by their realtor, right? And I'll kind of leverage it on that part. But if they're doing it for themselves, I mean, it's simple. We have some information that we can give and a website we can give that I can shoot out that really will tie everything that we're talking about. That way they can look up because it's very basic. Everything we have broken down is really to try to understand in its simplest form. But at the very least, if they're in a position where they have, investment property or we're talking to somebody, an investor who's got a bunch of commercial land or whatever the case may be, the most important thing is to come and visit our website. And then from there, answer a couple of questions like how much you have, where you're at, and then from there, seek a consultation. And then we have a conversation. Hey, what are your goals? What are your needs? What are your wants? And really fine tune it to each person. But in a very basic standpoint, I would say, hey, listen, if you have a property, an investment property, and you have been wanting to get rid of it or sell it and avoid capital gains at the very basic level of things, I would say that's a good start. That's a a good place to see.
Got it. Any other advice, resources, tools, tips, things you want to share with our audience before we end?
Yeah, so honestly, just do your research, right? I always believe trust but verify. Ronald Reagan says that, right? Trust but verify. Don't take everything at face value. Do your deep research. Explore our websites, and I mean, even some of the attorneys that we work with, too specifically. I mean, they've already won awards for Deferred Sales Trust of the Year and how they're designed. So again, ask the questions that need to be asked. Really, understand what it is that we're doing. But outside of that, just keep an open mind with it all, because some of these things are very unique. They're very different than what you're traditionally normally used to. But because of that, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's a different way that we're doing things to help create that generational wealth for the families we're dealing with.
And this could be a tool in the tool belt of a real estate agent too, right? That's helping someone sell their home. Be like, hey, look, here's like an added benefit. I can show you how to avoid capital gains. Can other Joe Realtor do that? No.
Yes, exactly. And see, here's what's crazy too, and this is what's very unique about what we're doing, because we truly believe in opening up opportunity for everybody, right? Like people that think, oh, there's not enough money. Listen, there's enough money in the world for everybody. You just got to go reach out there and do the work to make it happen. But a lot of what I've been seeing, so if you're a realtor and you're listening to this, or you're an investor and you're listening to this, but mainly even just the real estate or realtor space, a lot of the realtors that I've been talking to, actually, I just got a text message this morning. One of my realtors passed her license to do what we do, to become a referral partner. Cool. So now think about this. You're a real estate agent. You're going to offer, hey, we can sell your property, avoid capital gains. They're like, holy smokes, I love you. Watch my kids, hang out with my family, come over for dinner tonight, right? I trust you. So now, once that gets done, the realtor makes the sale on the commission of the home, which is fantastic. And then when they refer that business over to us, they make half of everything that we do just by referring the business, because they carry the license. So and then if the seller ends up wanting to become a buyer again, they can leverage the accounts that we set up for them. They've already been, just a simple case, somebody in Colorado that I was speaking with, his property's been sitting on the market for months. But what's great is, yes, if he needs to probably lower the price to sell it, to get rid of it, we'll be able to make up what he lowered that price on the investment side with us, which is even great. So that's another tool, another thing to think about. Hey, maybe the seller's been on the market for a while. Okay, well, if we can be a little bit more lenient on the selling price, but we'll make up those funds over here on our end on the investment strategy side. So all I'm going to say is, if you have questions, or any realtor has questions about that, reach out. We could talk. Again, if it makes sense, great, awesome. But you become so much more competitive. And then we talk about the wealth strategy side of it all. Where these realtors are reaching out to their past clients. Hey, I partner up with a wealth strategist. You're all taken care of. We got you into your dream home. Now let's make sure all your finances in order, and it's free of charge. It doesn't cost anything. So we do a free financial needs analysis. Make sure they have asset protection. Make sure there's things in place that, God forbid, if Mr. or Mrs. Smith, something were to happen to them, their family's completely taken care of. But imagine selling a home to a family for the first time, taking care of their retirement, and making sure their kids go to college or have enough money to buy a car or start a business. I mean, awesome. You become a force to be reckoned with at that point.
That's awesome. And I'm wondering too, if like even if that would be a helpful tool for investors that are bidding against other investors on a property, because, hey, homeowner, I know I can do this for you to help avoid those capital gains. Pick me. Right?
Yes.
So, so that would be a great, man, that's some cool stuff, dude.
Yes, most definitely.
Johnny, so everybody can get a hold of you, get in touch with you. Every realtor on this thing listening should be calling Johnny, because that would be an incredible tool for your sellers. How do they get in touch?
Yeah, so listen, I'm an open book. You can reach out to me on my Facebook, Instagram, my email, johnnyp.elite@gmail.com, or listen, I'll give my phone number, because I want everybody to know they have access to me. So in the sense of, let's get down to business. Let's see if there's some value. So my phone number is 760-373-6302. Feel free to call, text. Usually I would say text first. Hey, I listened to you on the podcast. I wanted some more information, only because I get 1,000 calls a day. And my text messages, which I still haven't gone through, it's like 200 text messages right now, which is killing me. But I make time for it. So reach out to me, and yeah, we can talk, have a conversation, and see how we can help each other throughout the process.
Awesome, man. Great stuff. Great knowledge. Great information. Guys, I hope you took some notes, took some good nuggets. Johnny, thank you again for being on the show. And I hope everybody enjoyed it like I did. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.